Greg Proops is an improv comic, a popular podcaster, and now an author. His podcast is called The Smartest Man in the World, so naturally his first book is titled The Smartest Book in the World. It's published by Simon & Schuster, a division of CBS. Greg Proops, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Your introduction, it starts with hurrah, hurrah, you've made it to the smartest book in the world. You are now officially more inquisitive than all your bored friends.
Well, we try to imbue a sense of curiosity into people. People go, how come you think you're the smartest man in the world? And it's like, well, you have to be curious about things. And so it's full of art and music and movies and all the stuff that I like and talk about in my podcast.
The smartest man in the world has a very interesting education, your background.
Well, I didn't really finish college, so that's probably the most interesting part. I'm from the Bay Area, and I'm a touring comedian all the time, so basically my education's been on the fly.
You tell a lot of, this book is kind of all over. As you mentioned, you talk about film, you talk about dictators, you talk about all kinds of stuff. What were you trying to do here?
Well, I think imbue people with a sense that you don't have to stick to the narrow parameters of your life, and that there's poetry in everything. There's a lot of poetry in the book, and people go to their jobs and they kind of want to subsist, and survival is very hard, and people have to work all day. But I'm always here to remind people that there's more to life than that. There's the moon and the stars, you know? And so that's why I put in movies that I like and books that I like and how to steal artwork and how to drink vodka and all the fun things in life. That's what I'm trying to do.
People love your podcast, and by people, I mean a lot of people. And one of the things I always consistently read, and I've noticed, is just so high octane. How did you translate that into a book? Was it hard?
Of course, it was an onerous responsibility. Being the kind of amazing genius that I am, it was very difficult for me, in my humility, to be able to do that. I was trying to get my voice onto the page and kind of get that sense of fun. And like you say, the high octane, high stakes. I don't think anything should be played for low stakes. It's much more fun if you care. And I think that's what the book is about, caring about stuff.
You talk about baseball, and you care about baseball, obviously, a lot. You start a chapter with a quote from Casey Stengel, the former Yankees and Mets manager, which goes, "It's not that the players have sex the night before a game, it's that they stay out all night looking for it." Where did your fascination for baseball come from?
My dad took me to lots of games when I was little, and we didn't have a lot in common. But one thing we could always talk about was baseball, and then we didn't argue. You know what I mean? My task in the book was, as I say, to try to make baseball interesting to people who aren't white middle-aged guys, because it's not exactly the America.
One of the people you talk about a lot is Satchel Paige, who was not a white middle-aged guy.
No, Satchel Paige is one of my heroes. He pitched in the Negro Leagues when the ball players were segregated, and he managed to triumph with a lot of humor. He's one of the funniest people. We had a fact checker in the book, and the book was heavily fact checked, and I said he pitched for 1,000,000 years, and the fact checker came back and went, he did not pitch for 1,000,000 years. And I was like, it's a joke. No one actually pitches for 1,000,000 years. It was a figure of speech.
Oh, I want to ask you about your relationship with women and weed, because you say they are the future.
Yeah, they are.
And I thought, it's a really interesting discourse that you have. A lot of people saying you're a strong feminist. Where does all of that come from, and why do you see them as the future?
It comes from my wife. My wife has bled it into me, then changed my point of view on women, and I think that this country could use a woman leader very desperately. And the most important issue in the world to me is how women are treated. I feel like if you take care of women's economic parity and women's health care, then everything follows after that. A lot of people see it the other way, and it needs to be this and that, and the arms race and all that, and I don't see it that way. I see respect of women as the most important issue in the entire world.
And then where does weed play a role in all
Well, weed is just, if they're going to make alcohol and cigarettes legal, why shouldn't weed be legal? I find it hypocritical and moralizing to make weed, to demonize weed, when obviously I'm from San Francisco, and lots of people in San Francisco have a medicinal need for weed, as well as all over the country. But I think after Colorado and Washington and Oregon and other states see what a giant money spinner it is for them, the decision will be, do I want bridges and roads and lights, or do I want to not have weed? So that's why I see it as the future.
One of the things you do in the book, which I love, and it follows on the baseball theme, is you make baseball teams for everything, from movie bombshells to Roman emperors. You got Tiberius, I believe, playing second base, by the way.
Yes.
What are you trying to do there?
Well, that was an organic thing that came from the podcast. People on the show would say to me, who's your all-time Roman emperor team? So I'd make it up right there on the spot. So I put that in the book. And I feel like everything can be broken down into baseball teams. And some of them are a little harder than others. Like, how do you make tyrannical, despotical dictators funny. And so we put them in there. I think I have Joseph Stalin as the relief pitcher because he's the ultimate stopper of humanity. and on the Caligula behind the plate on the Roman Emperor team, because that teenage madman could handle cojones.
Well, you know, I love first time was the smartest podcast. Now the smartest book, maybe the third time, smartest movie. Could that be? Yeah,
You
an
know what?
idea.
If they make it in Hollywood, I'll have to audition to play myself. But I'm willing to do that. But I'll settle for Stephen
The
Colbert.
book's a lot of fun. Greg Proops, thanks so much.
Thank you.